Hey guys, this video is going to be a labor and delivery video. I want to make it sort of simple because I'm obviously making it extremely late, and I don't remember a lot of it. I do have a lot written down in Ellie's journal, but it's just kind of like times and stuff like that. It's not a very short explanation of what all happened, I guess you could say. So I'm just going to tell you guys what I remember. So here we go. It was September 17th, which is my sister's birthday, and it was her 21st birthday, coincidentally. And we went to my dad's girlfriend's house to have pizza and everything before she went out with her friends. And that whole day I had been experiencing contractions, but they weren't exactly timeable. If anything, somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes apart, but they weren't really obvious or anything. So I wasn't too pressed or anything like that. I dropped my mom off because her vehicle was in the shop at the time at a place to go dancing. My mom likes to do all that kind of stuff. And I went to the little celebration at my dad's girlfriend's house for Jessica, my sister. And I remember going on a walk with my dad with the dogs and trying to tell him, I was like, I think I said something like, I don't want to freak you out, but I think I might be starting to go into labor. And I remember he was like, do we need to go back? Like, is this bad or what? And honestly, walking, I wanted to be into labor. I was 39 weeks and 6 days pregnant. So, oh no, I was at the time 5 days. I was 6 days when she was born. So 39 weeks and 5 days pregnant at the time. And I was like, no, you know, I'm fine and everything like that. But I remember after that, TMI had a lot of odd discharge and everything that made me think like my water had broken, or I don't know. It was really weird. It wasn't like the bloody show, but it wasn't like straight up water. That might be kind of gross, but whatever. And as we were sitting there eating pizza and everything like that, I started to really have bad contractions. You know, sitting down felt a lot better, and they were just getting really uncomfortable. So by the time the evening ended, I drove to go get my mom from the place that she was at, and I was in a lot of pain. And I remember picking her up, and I was like, hurry up, let's go, you know, get in the car, hurry out here. And as we were driving out of the parking lot, I had to stop during a contraction. So she was like, nope, I'm driving. So we switched. And I remember texting Gavin and saying that, you know, you might want to start trying to figure out if you can get home now, because I think this is actually going to start happening. But I wasn't sure because my contractions were, at the time, I think they were anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. They weren't regular at all, but they were extremely painful. So I remember being very confused, and I had gone to the hospital 2 times before for having contractions that were painful and semi-regular. So I didn't want to get all excited, but it did feel a little bit more different than the other 2 times. So we got to our house and I showered, you know, tried to refresh and everything before we got there. I would like to say that showering did help, and it put a lot of pressure, took a lot of pressure off of my back, which was nice. But I remember my dog Ginger was acting really weird, almost like when when a dog gets in trouble and she's just extremely guilty looking. That's how she was looking, and she hadn't done anything. She just was uncomfortable and would stay in the room with me, but further away. I think she was just unsure of what was going on as well. So I was like, I'm probably in labor. So, you know, I'm telling Gavin, you know, start trying to get there, but we're gonna go to the hospital. Don't do anything yet. I want to see what this is first. I did bring my bags and everything, but I had also done that before. When we got to the labor and delivery triage, I think it was around 11 p.m. on the 17th, and they tested down there the fluids to see if it was amniotic fluid or not. And I remember the nurse saying, she said, normally this is pretty much black or white, and she said, and you're gray. She's like, it isn't saying that it is amniotic fluid, and it isn't saying that it isn't. And she said she's never seen that before, and she was an older nurse too. So I'm like, great, you know, I'm sitting here in pain, I don't know what's going on. They did administer some kind of, I don't even know, I don't think it was through IV. Maybe it was through an IV. Or maybe it was just a shot. See, I don't even remember. But it was some kind of temporary medicine that would work for like 30 minutes. to take away a little bit of the pain. And I remember sitting, just how I'm sitting right now, cross-legged, sitting up on the bed, and that was the only way I could sit. And with that medicine that they gave me, it made it to where I could breathe. And at that point, my contractions would be anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes apart, and they were extremely, extremely painful. And when a contraction wouldn't be happening, I would still be in pain. So it was like my body was just glitching. I don't know. And the doctors were extremely confused. I still don't truly understand what all was going on, because you know, the doctors are just trying to help you. They're not trying to explain to you everything, and I wasn't focused at all. And I think I don't remember, and I have no idea what time it was, but I remember just like I was throwing up at that point and like curled into a little ball on the bed, and I remember being wheeled into an actual room. So it was late at night. I don't know what time it was, but I remember that was me being admitted, formally admitted into a room. Let's see, then the nurse was like, I think I'm gonna get you an epidural, because I was throwing up and it was just a huge, huge mess. And so the anesthesiologist came in to give me a epidural. Epidural, not bad at all. I definitely had a lot of fears for that. I didn't want to get one, but I wasn't against one. But at that point, I had been in pain for so long, and it didn't seem to be doing anything, is my understanding. That's my understanding of it. I don't know. I think it was 2 centimeters when I got my epidural. So the epidural took a little bit to start working, you know. As I was laying there, a lot of the pain in my lower back went away. I could still feel stuff in my back, but the pain there was a lot less. It was more pressure then. In my tummy where the contractions would be, I still felt everything. If anything, it was like a little less apparent, but I still felt everything, and everything down there, if you know what I mean, felt it all. It didn't change, and that was the more painful part for me, at least. And I had the little boost button, and I would do that, and it wouldn't do much for me. I didn't feel anything that would change, and I was getting really frustrated because I wasn't feeling better, still throwing up, still feeling like crap. And I remember they started administering Pitocin to help regulate my contractions, and so it started to go into a regular, you know, this is what we were doing, we were here. So at that point, for sure, Gavin was trying to get here. So a little bit later, the epidural completely, I like to say, wore off, but it just wasn't working. So the anesthesiologist came back in and gave me an additional dose or something like that, and it did absolutely nothing for my contractions, but killed my legs. Like, I could not move, lift, feel my legs at all. And that was extremely frustrating, because once again, it didn't do anything for my contractions or the pressure or pain down there. So I remember my doctor coming in, and she was like, oh, this is great, you know, you're gonna love a natural delivery, it's so much more worth it. She is a huge natural advocate, and I remember being so mad at her for saying that, because I had gotten an epidural, it's supposed to work, and it didn't. I was so mad that she was saying that. And yada yada like that. I remember sometime, you know, during daytime the next day, my mom went to go let the dog out, and before she left, I had a nurse check me to see how far along I was, and I think it was 4 centimeters, and right as she was checking me, she was saying, I can't believe your water hasn't, did your water just break? And my water broke right as she was checking me. So my mom left. By the time she came back, I went from 4 centimeters to 8 centimeters or something crazy like that. It was something, oh gosh, I cannot remember. But it was a huge difference in just the hour or so that she was gone. And then by the time she got back, they had a little peanut shaped like blow up ball, exercise ball, that they had me place just between my knees and lay on sort of my side. And I remember asking, I was like, how will I know I need to push? You know, do you guys tell me or what? And they were like, you should know, your body will tell you. And I was like, well, I think I need to push. I remember saying that. And they're like, okay, well, let me check you. And then I was 10 centimeters. Like, it just all happened really, really quick. And I was in pain this entire time. It was extremely frustrating. They did, I forgot to say, they did stop the Pitocin once my water broke, because naturally your body can accelerate past that point. Forgot to say that. Okay, going back to where I was. So yes, 10 centimeters, could start pushing. I guess that was around 7:44, because I started pushing at 7:44 p.m. on the 18th. And very proud of myself, didn't cuss the entire time. And I had my mom with me and a really, really nice nurse. I just remember being extremely determined. In my opinion, it felt like maybe 20 minutes. It didn't feel like, you know, over an hour, because Ellie was born at 9:03 p.m. So I was pushing since 7:44 to 9:03. Didn't feel that long. I mean, at that point, I was so determined to just, this is gonna be over. It was so painful. Ellie did pass her meconium while she was still in me. So as soon as she was born, they did have the NICU people there to make sure that she was okay. They just suctioned out everything in her face and she was perfectly fine. So they left. She did get to stay in the room with me. She was perfectly happy, so to speak. She was a healthy weight of 7 pounds 8 ounces, and crying and everything, the right color. My mom said that when she first came out, she was gray. I don't remember that. I think I remember just relief. I remember seeing her being lifted from there and going over there, but I don't remember what she looks like per se. But she pinked up real good and everything like that. So that was the labor and birth. Then my mom did get to cut the cord because Gavin was still, I think when she was born, he was actually driving to the airport. So he was so close, so close, you know, a couple more hours and he would have been there, but it's okay. We have learned to accept that. And then I got wheeled into mother and baby, and they took her to get her shots and everything. And I think she was gone for 40 minutes. And I hate to say this, but it was like one of the best 40 minutes of my life. I slept like a rock. You are completely exhausted after going through, I guess I was in labor for over 24 hours. I have never really counted it, but yeah, so I was done. I was absolutely done. And when she came back, she nursed wonderful. Oh, I forgot to say, she, I think, latched with, after 10 minutes, she started nursing perfectly fine. She did really, really well. And she has been nursing ever since. She is exclusively breastfeeding, has never taken a bottle, no matter how much I tried. So, oh well, I absolutely am so grateful for nursing. It's the best decision I've ever made. But the next day, Gavin got there around noon, and he came into the room all nervous and like, you know, shaky and so quiet. And looking back at it now, it was so cute, because I mean, I can't imagine that from his perspective, just coming into the room and you have a baby and there's your wife. And at that point, I couldn't lift my arms, I couldn't walk. I was so exhausted and sore and just wiped. So I can't imagine what that looked like from his perspective, but it was a wonderful experience overall. A very, I mean, to me, it went by quick, but it was kind of prolonged, and it was just chaotic, and a lot of, are you actually in labor, are you not? And then once they knew that I was, then it just, I was in so much pain, I couldn't, you know, I truly didn't understand exactly what was going on, and I didn't know why the epidural wasn't working. And then I was this far along, and then my water broke, and then I was this far along, and then bam, she's here. And after that, I was done. I was just completely whooped. So definitely an experience. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope it made sense. I hope it's not too long. And I do plan on having her 8-month update pretty soon, because she just turned 8 months. But let me get this one up first before I make any promises. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, hope it makes sense. It's been so long since it actually happened, but that's the basic gist of it. And I am so thankful for you all that have stuck with me through this and have been patient with me. And if you're new or just seeing my story, feel free to watch my older videos, and I plan to have more out. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.